So hello everyone. Welcome to part 3 of our six-part series on our current medical system. As I showed you before, we're doing Rockefeller medicine, and these are our topics, and we're on number 3 right here. Have I ever found a really good documentary for you guys? It's called The Big Secret, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But I just wanted to start this video off by kind of giving you a little bit of background on how I went from being a nurse to now kind of speaking out against the medical society or medical system. As some of you may know, I was a geriatric nurse for 20 years. And back in 2017, I separated from my husband. And at that point, I figured I would go back to nursing. I really did. I really had gone those 20 years not really questioning anything. There was a couple things I really, once I think back about it, that really bothered me. But other than that, I really loved my job. I loved the staff. I loved the residents. I did. I really, really did love nursing. There was a couple things when I was nursing that I did question though. And one of them, I know, my intuition always kind of questioned, even with my kids, was those. And I think most of you will know what I'm talking about, especially from yesterday's video, if you watched yesterday's video, which I can't mention. I know there was many times, since I worked night shifts for like my first 13 years there, I really wasn't bombarded with the question of taking one every season. But as I got to do day shifts, and even occasionally on night shifts, I would be cornered, and my intuition always said, don't do it. And I did whenever I was cornered by my director of nursing. I would, because I thought, you know what, I have no good reason to say no. I just don't feel like this is necessary. I don't get the flu or anything like that. Why do I need it, right? Kind of thing. So, but my intuition was always up, and my intuition was always that, I don't want this. I really don't. And even, of course, when my kids were small, I kind of had the same kind of intuition with them, especially my oldest, his first set. I was just very, very, very leery. I started to cry. My intuition was like, it was peaked. But, of course, at the time, I just thought it must be because I don't want him to have that needle, right? So during my nursing career, I really was very leery about that. And I gave them, though. I gave them to staff. I gave them to residents, whenever I needed to. It wasn't my fun thing to do, I must say. And the other thing that I noticed that I was, it started off on such a family level, and it was, it was a smaller nursing home at first, and then it built to over, I think we had over 101 residents when I left. I did with that, I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm trying to think where I was going with that. Oh, I know. It was, it started small. It started so that it was very not strict. It was not as highly government regulated as it got to be. And it got so that I got more unhappy as time went on, because there were so many government regulations. Now, this was a private nursing home, so but it just seemed like it didn't matter. Government overreach was in there, and there was, certain things that I would always really, really balk at, like certain things that didn't make sense, procedures you'd have to do on the elderly when, it wasn't called for. And there was a lot of paperwork that seemed to really, really, really take away from the one-on-one patient care. So those were the only things, though. Those were the only things in nursing that I ever really questioned or thought about when I was in nursing. I didn't really think otherwise. So then, when I broke up with my husband, and I started right away, because of the way things went, I started right away to realize there was something not right with this world. And, of course, I was talking to he's now my husband, Jamie, at the time, but then he was just my best friend, and he would start to tell me, this and that about certain things, and I'd start to research them and realize, hey, there is something up with that. And it basically came to those topics of medicine eventually. And the more and more I learned about certain procedures, certain treatments, especially this, and of course the topic we talked about the other day, abortion, and the truth of all those things, I got so that more and more I didn't want anything to do with it. And so I was a nanny, a live-in nanny for my sister for a few years. And when it came time to go back to nursing, I didn't want to go. I really didn't. But I knew I had to. It was good money, very good money. It's the only thing I knew ever. I was a nurse for 20 years. But then, right around the bend, the C word happened. The C1, and you know the next number. I'm not going to say it. Not at all. And that really, really, the whole thing just sickened me. And the more I saw, and the more I saw TikTok videos, and the more I saw what the medical system was doing with that, and all the regulations and whatever, I said no. And I will never, ever, ever go back. So now I don't have a license. I don't. My license is expired. If I wanted to become a nurse again, I would have to take a refresher course and also write the exam again. And that is not going to happen. I don't want anything to do with it anymore. And honestly, that is the way I feel. I just do not want anything to do with it anymore. So when I found this documentary, I was like, wow, this is the one I've got to use. And I'm going to find some more material as well. But I just kind of wanted to talk to you about this documentary. Because this documentary that I found isn't going to incorporate everything for you. And so it's called The Big Secret. And the big thing about it is that because our heading is called Rockefeller Medicine, that is actually, they go into a big part of that. They go into the whole story of that, actually. So in this video, there's way more than just medicine. And it's things that is connected to medicine and connected to health, but not actually what a lot of people would consider, you know, what they would think of as the healthcare system, right? So some of the things in this documentary, which I was very, very surprised at, is they go into things like GMOs. And they talk about GMOs, genetically modified food. And they talk about how that leads to, of course, bad health. There's glyphosate mentioned. There's all of our chemicals, preservatives, all of that is mentioned in there. They talk about fluoride and how fluoride is the neurotoxin that they put in your water, and that, you know, that definitely does something to people. A neurotoxin in our water system for cavities. Well, if anybody knows the backstory to that, and they will find out in this documentary, the only reasons it's in there is because they can't find out any other way to do it. So they use the whole cavity thing as basically a lie. Like I'm telling you, when I mentioned the whole thing that this is death by 1,000 cuts, it really is. And this documentary is going to show that to you. So just a few questions to get you thinking about. If the health industry, I mean, any business or any industry, what is its main goal? Its main goal is to profit and to make money, right? So here's a big question. So if their number one priority in the healthcare system is to make money, then where does our priority, where does our health priority lie? Where does our health lie with them? If money is number one, then our health has to be second. Money is the driver here. And I know I mentioned in my last video that there's something going on here where from every angle we have something around us that we use, that we breathe, that we eat, that is causing us to die a quicker death than God ever intended. And the so-called death by 1,000 cuts. Well, this documentary is going to show you about 12 of them. Or maybe not 12, but a good many of them. It's very important that you watch this video if you want to know the truth about our current medical system. It really is. So, I don't know if many people have thought about, you know, we don't you go to a naturopath and they're going to give you things. They're going to give you things to support your health. They're going to give you vitamins. They're going to tell you need sunshine. They're going to tell you that you need rest. They're going to tell you need a good mental outlook. You need exercise. You need calmness. You need, you need certain things to keep your body in balance. So just wanted you to think, when you go to the doctor, is that ever mentioned? If you go with a said symptom, what is their go-to, usually? Now, if you go to an ER and you have a broken leg and you have something that they can fix, like a gallbladder or, like I say, a broken leg, you get it made. This medicine is A1. It really is. But think about the rest of it. Think about the pill aspect. When you go in and you say, I have this and this symptom, it's always, okay, well, I'll look it up, and then I'm going to find you a drug, and then I'm going to prescribe it to you. Well, maybe the symptom is part of a bigger picture. Or maybe there's something natural you can do to prevent that. Or maybe you can even be on it for a set amount of time, and then you're not going to need it anymore, and you can come off it. Or maybe you should have just eaten healthier, or maybe you should have just rested better. Maybe you shouldn't have worked so much. Maybe you should have gotten more sleep, paid attention to what you put in your body as far as food and the GMOs and all of that crap, or alcohol, or whatever it is. Or maybe there's that. But our current medical system is literally driven by pills, and it's driven by, we're going to not pay attention to the things around you that, every day is killing all of us, like fluoride in our water, and we're not going to pay attention to GMO, the fact that we don't even have hardly any nutritional value in our food anymore. And why is that? Could it be the 1,000 chemtrails over our heads? I shouldn't say thousands, but yesterday in our skies here, it was many, 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 pretty much a grid of them. Why? Why are we sick? Why is there so much drug addiction? And where did that come from? The opiate crisis, where did that come from? Right? They get people hooked on things, and then it's, oh well. So I just wanted to get you thinking. In this video, I really, really want to get you thinking about those 1,000 cuts in our medical system and how it pertains. How that if docs were really, really concerned about your health and not their pocketbook, how maybe they'd look into some of this stuff and say, hey, I know you can't do anything about chemtrails, and I know you can't do anything about this and that, but you could look at your food and you could pick the better choices. And instead of writing that on that prescription pad, a pill, maybe, just maybe, they could have told you how to, from now on, make yourself healthier. When my son was sick, we ended up having no faith in any docs except for a naturopath. And it was like, the docs will help you for a little bit, and then once they don't know, they'll just come up with something and, usually psych. And to have a naturopath go through it with you, to work with you, it is way different. And they want to support your overall health. This medical system we have here does not. We pay here in Canada out the nose in taxes for this system. We pay a lot of money for this. And honestly, all it's doing, in my opinion, is making us more sick. It's either ignoring the issues that, they should have some kind of medical information to give you about nutrition, or they should be able to give you some kind of advice, to get you back on track besides a little white pill or a little blue pill. In this video also, I wasn't even aware of one of these topics, and it was statins, and how you take statins to lower cholesterol, which they do, and this is where a lot of this whole lying with statistics and lying with information goes. Yeah, this doc on here claims, yes, they will lower your cholesterol. But we've been lied to about cholesterol, so statins don't really even prevent heart attacks. And that's what usually you're on it for. So you'll see this in this documentary too. So this documentary is to get you interested in the medical system, is to make you understand about big pharma and how much money they take in, to get you thinking about the cancer industry, which is what we're going to go over because that is huge. You know, how can they just keep, you know, taking more and more money for years and years and years on cancer research and just never quite come up with it. They can just not quite come up with the cure. It's been decades of research. It's been probably billions of dollars. There's not going to be one. There is never going to be a cure for cancer. And if there is, then that'll be because there's bigger fish to fry, which is a lot of times what happens. Look at the current situation with the C1, which to me hasn't gone anywhere. It's coming back. And just for a little side note, if you really want to know what's going on with that in China, I would be watching. There's certain things going on there, and I can't think of the actual place right now. Shanghai, I do believe. So it'll be interesting to watch that. So I don't believe that's going away. And to me, that whole thing that we just went through, it just proves it. It proves the evil that this system is. That it proves the evil in the system. It proves it. You know, I don't know if you've ever had anyone that, you know of anyone, or even yourself, that's had a, bad back or whatever. And first thing they used to do was just put you on something, tell you it wasn't really addictive when it was very addictive. And then where are you a few months later? And you're drug addicted and they're telling you need to stop it. Well, they got you that way in the first place and told you that was the only option when there could have been other options. That's evil in itself. So anyway, I think I'm going to end this video now. I didn't have a lot to say about it. I want you really to try to watch that documentary. That is the best piece I've found. And if I find anything else, I'm going to put it up. But I really thought that that ties everything in. Everything that you'd ever... well, a lot of things. It just brings it all together in the bigger picture with the death by 1,000 cuts. From your fluoride to your GMOs and your glyphosate, and I don't think they mentioned chemtrails in there, but it's kind of eye-opening. So anyway, that's my story, and that's how I came to be kind of passionate too about the medical field and calling it out. And I'm glad I started with this series because I was wondering, I asked Jamie where to start there a few weeks ago, like, where do I start? There's so many things I want to give people, bring attention to. And there's so many things I want people to look at for themselves. Where do I start? And then he said, start with medicine. So I was like, well, yeah, I mean, that seems obvious now because I was a nurse, right? And, I still would be if I could be what I felt was important to be in that. So anyway, I hope you all have a good rest of your day and that you can check out that material. We'll see you later.